everything, yeah. My everything is you, Lord. Yeah. Ha-ha. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Everybody say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, you've Father, you done for me? Lord, you are, you're my everything. See, I call you Jireh. You're my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my banner. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. You're my provider. I call you
It's a lovely Saturday afternoon, the very first one in the month of August 2024, 3rd of August 2024. Your right to buy your council home is in focus this afternoon on the Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors on BWTV Live next.
Hello. There are several questions in the community when it comes to the law, especially with immigration matters. That is why I'm inviting you to join us on the program, The Community and the Law, live on BWTV and brought to you by BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. We are going to have a very massive discussion on some of the issues of immigration matters that bother you. And they have the opportunity to meet you live on the program to explain to you all the updates that have come from the Home Office and also address your questions and concerns that you might have when it comes to the law. The Community and the Law is brought to you every Saturday between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. We're live on all social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, at BWF Solicitors, at BWTV, and of course, we urge you to share the program and invite others to join us. Remember, it's at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Saturday, live on BWTV. You have your questions. There are answers. So join us, learn, and empower yourself on the program, The Community and the Law. So pick up the phone and dial 0208-493-7345. Or you can send a text 07950-422-780. It's The Community and the Law. My name is Oreku Frimpong and I am your host.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
In recent years, the government's right to buy scheme has really grown, and it means that so many number of people are able to buy the council flats or houses they live in, and the government has also introduced a huge discount for those who are eligible to buy. But who can take advantage of this? Is it you? Is it me? Who else? Do you know somebody who has the advantage of that? Just join me as we discuss this on the program, The Community and the Law. And with that, I say, welcome to another edition of The Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors. That happens every Saturday afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. UK time. My name is Oreku Owusu. We're live on BWTV and BWF Solicitors social media platforms, YouTube and Facebook, and all the other platforms you can think of. Those of you who have just joined us, I want to welcome you and say thank you for joining us, and thank you for sticking around. If you stuck around from the beginning to this point, it means that you have real interest and you are ready to learn and add to your body of knowledge. So stay with us as we go for the next 2 hours to do this together. Now, this afternoon, as I've already said, we're bringing you this courtesy of BWF Solicitors, and we have the privilege and the honor of having the senior partner of BWF Solicitors, Mr. Bernard Owusu, Uncle Ben we call him, to be a resource person and a guest this afternoon. He has something up his sleeves, and I believe that you would want to take advantage of that. So first of all, let's do a hearty welcome to Mr. Bernard Owusu, senior partner, BWF Solicitors, our benefactor. Uncle Ben.
Good
afternoon to you. Thank you so very much. It's golden in the sky, but we are blue.
I know.
I hope the family is doing well.
By God's grace, we're doing absolutely fine.
and I'm sure yours is doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing so very well. I often say that I don't take this for granted because on a Saturday afternoon, especially when summer's here and everybody doing their own thing, having barbecues in their gardens and all that, you have time to come in here to enrich the knowledge of the community. So on behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you very much for coming.
It's always a pleasure to serve the community.
Right, thank you. So those of you out there, if you just joined us, I would want you to go to the comment section below and announce your presence, and also like the page, share with your colleagues, your friends and family, and let them know that we live on BWTV to bring you BWF Solicitors Community and the Law. Now this afternoon, we have some honors to do. In the month of July 2024, we had our employees working so very tirelessly well, making sure that everything you bring to BWF Solicitors becomes a success. An employee of the month of July 2024 is our dear and our very own Abigail Apiajan, our supporting staff. Those of you who come to the office, you often meet her at the front desk. The smile is so infectious, and the whole members of staff have decided that she be honored with the Employee of the Month July 2024. So Abigail, congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing. BWF Solicitors is proud of you. Thank you so very much. And those of you out there, yes, I know you'll give her a round of applause for doing so very well to be so on top of everything and everybody in the month of July 2024. We're going on, and others will come up as well. Now, if you would want to have the benefit of all the topics we discuss and the issues that come up, Mr. Bernard Osu does video recordings of various pertinent topics that will go to the benefit of the community. Now, this is spread out on the various social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and also on the website www.bwfsolicitors.com. Now, this topic was handled a few weeks back, how to bring your overseas domestic worker to the UK. It was done in Chi Ghanaian language, but we have the English version, which I'm promoting this afternoon, and I want you to go watch it. Download it, keep it on your phone, and take your time to listen, because there are steps and strategies in there that will help you to be able to bring your overseas domestic worker to the UK to come with you. We have dealt with this topic, and this is something for your library as well. Instead of going on the gossip and dishing people here and there on social media, stick to this. It will help you. How to bring your how to bring your overseas domestic worker to the UK is what I'm recommending this afternoon to help you do that. And as we go on, nugget for the week was about life in the UK. I know many people find it difficult to accept that you need to pass life in the UK or knowledge of life in the UK and the UK before you can fit into the community. Now, let me ask you this question. You come from an outside country of the UK and you come in. First of all, you come into a community where people have certain cultural practices that may be foreign and strange to you. How would you feel if you are so left out and everybody is acting in a particular way and you are behaving in another way? It will become very awkward. So the UK government, especially under the premises of the Secretary of State for Home Department, is saying that you should pass the English language test so you'll be able to speak the predominant language here in the UK and also know about life here in the UK. But people maybe under 18 or beyond the age of 65 are having challenges doing that. So BWF Solicitor says, now look at this. The law requires that those, except in specific cases, applying for settlement of British nationality must meet both the English language and knowledge of life requirements. Why? I've explained that, and I know Uncle Ben will reiterate that for us when we go for the explanation. But I said, a few people may not be able to do that, so it becomes difficult. Who are those who will be exempt from this? Those aged under 18 or 65 or older on the date of the application are exempt from the knowledge of life in the UK. So significantly, In every situation where there may be waivers here or there, it may not fall for everybody, but it may fall for some people. Who are those? It goes on to say that if the applicant claims to have a physical or mental health condition, it must provide original and current medical evidence from a doctor. Uncle Ben, I think I've tried in my layman's language to explain this. Did I get it right?
Yes, Gregory, you did. It's one of those areas which really creates a lot of problems for our people. Our people struggle with the English language.
Yeah.
And it's not only the English language, but also writing the knowledge of life in the UK. Very significant change in tone when you move from the English to the life in UK, because you're not only reading and understanding, but you're also applying the knowledge that you've acquired from books, from your life here, and also from discussions with other people. So there are questions. Who is the Prime Minister? What is the UK Parliament? What's the difference between UK House of Lords and the Houses of Parliament? How many House of Lords? How many laws do we have in the House of Lords? How many countries do we have in the United Kingdom? What's the difference between United Kingdom and Britain? Is Isle of Man and Jersey part of? So these are questions that you really need to have your knowledge, either geographical knowledge, history, political, local government, and it's tough because, as you know, there are people who've gone to university and still fail
their life in the UK. Yes.
So for our folks, when we talk of the Ghanaian folks, I always talk about my mom as a typical Ghanaian. Grew up, never stepped foot in a formal education. When she met my dad, she went to school. She went to school from the very basic to where she can read and speak good English. And that's what has enabled her to travel across the world and, currently lives in America and never gets any assistance when she's going to the shops or interacting with other people. So by Ghanaians, I say that we are lucky because although our national language or official language is English, Twi seems to be the default national language. So the official language is English, but Twi is also there. So how many people are able to communicate in English in Ghana? And I was speaking to someone who's Jamaican, and I said, well, Jamaican is classified as a majority English-speaking country. And really, patois is not English, I'm afraid, but it's what it is, and you have to pass these things.
Yeah. Then the whole thing is talking about exemptions here and there. People below 80 and people beyond 65. What will be the rationale behind this exemption that's given to those two groups?
Well, by law, if you take certain aspects of our legal system, anybody who's below 18 is a child. Okay, although you can marry from the age of 16 with your parents' consent, you are a child. So that's one. And people who are above 65, they're deemed to be people who should not be bothered with some of these things. They're reasonably old. And that's why they've given them the exemption, the automatic exemption.
Okay.
So up to 18 and above 65. There are other exemptions which you have to ask for.
Okay.
And that's the focus of the nugget. It's just to tell people that you don't have to suffer in silence. And if you have issues, we discussed this, I think, on Thursday. That was our major topic. There are so many aspects that our people are not aware of. And we like to bring it to light and discuss it in the local language so that they can understand and apply. Right. So there's a video which I've done. I wish I can share, but it's still being worked on. I'm sure it will come either Monday or Tuesday, both in English and in Twi for the language. So that will come. Yeah.
So it will come in the social media space within the week. So watch out for it. If you haven't visited the BWF Solicitors website, make sure you do www.bwfsolicitors.com, or you go to YouTube, Facebook, BWF Solicitors, and you have a chance of getting all these materials free of charge. I keep saying, and I will say again today, that instead of going on social media and quote unquote wasting your time there, give yourself some knowledge and know what it is. Now, our nugget this afternoon is saying that even though the law requires that applying for settlement or British nationality, you must meet both English language and knowledge of life requirements. There are two categories of people, those under 18 and those 65 and older are exempt from this. But if significantly you want that discretion to be given to you, maybe you have a mental health issue, a physical condition that would not be able to, would not allow you or even get you the opportunity to do that, let doctors and medical evidence be what will state your case for you. This one is based on a case, Ali and Bibi versus Secretary of State for Home Department, 2015 case, UK Supreme Court, case number 68, on discretion, published by the Home Office Staff Guidance in July 2024. So something quite fresh from the stove. So keep that in your pocket. Watch out for the video, and then you can enrich your knowledge on that. So those of you who have joined us, thank you very much. Let me acknowledge a few of them before we go into our main discussion this afternoon. Asima Evelyn, you say, hey, hi, thank you for coming. Tilly Juma, hello, lovely family. Everybody's being called to come on board. When you come in there, announce your presence and also share the page as well. And I would want people to subscribe. Now, the numbers who are subscribing is going down. I'm not happy about that. Do me that good favor. Let the algorithm look good and subscribe to the page as well. Good evening, everyone. Rama Nana Sewa says so. The next one here says, Denise Johnson, watching from South London. Hey, the South London massive, as our people will say. Lovely to have you on board, Denise. We have Anita Ajapoma Japon. Good afternoon to you as well. You are saying good afternoon to everyone. Next, we have on board Ika Hair. Ika Hair, love you too. Thank you so very much. Tilly Duma is calling Nana Sapon to come on board. Nana Sapon, if you are here, please let's see you announce your presence. Please kindly share, comment, and like. Thank you. Thumbs up to you, Tilly, as well. Yes, as Tilly is on, let me just remind everyone that we collating the people who will share the more, who would contribute the more, who will comment the more, and those who will also be on the show a lot more. So at the end of the year, the Senior Partners Reward would go to the person who has done it. Well, I've shown you a few of the statistics. At the end of August, I'll be showing you the statistics for the period as well. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, are you living in a council flat and you're interested in buying that? How much is your rent? Would your rent be enough to pay for your deposit? We will be looking at, obviously, who qualifies to live in a council house and who qualifies to buy the council house that they are living in. Right on the Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors and is live.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Welcome back, and thank you for sticking around. Now, one of our regular viewers in Italy is celebrating her birthday this afternoon. Nana Kusia Sumwa, you call yourself God is Good. It's your super happy birthday, and together with Mr. Usu, your husband, and all the children, want to say thank you for sticking around all the time. We celebrate your day with you, and we wish you the very best. So, your husband is Owusu. I know you and Nana Somo Owusu. So you joined the Owusu family because Koko Owusu Frimpong is here, Nana Owusu, Uncle Ben is here. And I hope, I don't know the day he was born on, but he's one of the Owusus. So congratulations to you and happy birthday. May you live to achieve everything you desire. Council home, council flat, council house. What is that? Who qualifies to live in a property like that? And then we'll extend it to where can you buy something that you rent from the government? Uncle Ben, council housing, what is that?
Well, I mean, when we use the word council housing, it gels with everyone because then the description can be either a social tenant or a housing association tenant. But when we say council housing, everybody understands that. Right. That's why the topic is about council housing. So when we say council housing, it's a social housing. America, they call it project homes. In the UK, is to provide affordable homes for families. Okay. And the essence of it is to create as many homes as possible at a reasonable rent. And it's somebody will say it's not subsidized. It's just a reasonable rent because it's not that it's higher, but you're paying lower. And that's what it is. Just like if it's a private rental, it will obviously be very expensive. It gives you secure tenancy, and you can actually also, your children can inherit it if they are tenants on the property. Most often than not, in London, the cheapest properties will be council accommodation. But we take a typical Islington property, let's say 2-bedroom flat. You'll be looking at rent of about £2,500.
If it was in the private hands?
Private, yes. Okay. If it's council, you will not pay anything more than £700 for that kind of accommodation. So that is a difference. If you go outside to maybe Milton Keynes, the difference between the social housing and the private accommodation is about 30%. So again, that is significant. If you go further to Manchester area, Birmingham, the difference in the rent is about between 25 and 40. So again, that is significant. And we know that mostly it's parents who can't afford the private rental space. And therefore, the government scheme, in addition with the private sector, but also private sector that we call the housing associations, help to ameliorate some of the difficulties that families have in renting in various places. Yeah.
Now, those who cannot afford, affordability in itself is a relative concept. If somebody works, but their outgoings kind of outweigh whatever is coming in, and rent becomes a difficult thing for them, can they go to government or to the local authority to say that this is my condition? Can I get something from your end?
Yeah, well, we know to get on the social housing, there are certain criteria that you need to meet. One is homelessness or potential homelessness. the other one is affordability has never been a reason. So if you say, well, I've got a home, but I can't afford it, so I want a council flat, you're not homeless.
Okay.
So those are the criteria. There might be other things, which is if somebody's got a medical condition, and then although they may have a home, they have to leave their home to be housed by the local authority. Usually will be a physical condition, a mental health condition, and you see people living with their parents, but because of their medical condition, the social worker is recommended that they have to be given social housing, and they are almost always given a social housing, and you have that as well. So to say that I can't afford it itself is not one of the criteria. But by and large, people who apply for council accommodation, it's affordability. It's because it's far cheaper. It's far cheaper, especially in this area of London. You're talking about Haringey, Islington, even if you're going down into Lambeth, Greenwich area, your houses are pretty expensive. And council accommodation helps families to settle, or else they might have to move out. I mean, there are people who are not buying in London or Kent. They're actually moving to the Birmingham area, Milton Keynes, even Luton and Milton Keynes have become a bit expensive. Because the commute to work or into London is not that bad. It's about an hour or so, but people are still going further and further. So, Kweku, it's just to make sure that there is cohesion. There's a social housing policy that was introduced by the Labour government, and it's always been there to make sure that the lowest of the low has protection when it comes to accommodation.
So, can anybody apply and put in a case? Obviously, there will be a criteria on the application form as to who may be given priority. But can anybody at all get up and say, I'm trying to get something? Because the cheaper for everybody, the better for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, you mean the council accommodation?
Yes.
Well, nothing stops you from applying. As to whether you qualify, every council will have their own criteria. A recent case that I dealt with, a mother and her 3 daughters, they were writing exams and they've been evicted from their home. The council was willing to accommodate them temporarily in a hotel. In the long term, the council said, Mr. Usu, we understand everything you've said, but it's so expensive, so your clients will be sent outside London. Now, then you have to make a choice, whether that's where you want to go. And what they told me is that because the girl was setting her GCSE, they were not going to disrupt them. They gave them accommodation in a hotel. And the accommodation to her school was about an hour and a half on the train. It's difficult. So the criteria is very, very strict. Homelessness, potential homelessness, medical grounds, or overcrowding. These are some of the areas that they give priority to. And the fact that you're on the list doesn't mean that you will get housed. It's a hot cake. It's a hot cake. I mean, those days when we came here, the first thing you were told is to go for council accommodation. That is what everybody was told. And there were stories in the news of the World, the Sun, and other newspapers that people were intentionally getting pregnant to get on the council house ladder.
Right.
But you see, people are on there because they cannot afford the private sector, not because they just want the council accommodation is reasonably priced. And if somebody's working and earning £2,000, it's a lot of money. Your take home if it's 2,000, it means that a year your salary is over 30,000 or thereabout. Your rent is about 1,800. Council tax, the 200 will not pay. Tax. Yeah. How do you eat? How do you travel? How do you groom yourself? How do you give your child money? So council accommodation, you will not pay 1,800. You're very likely to pay under £1,000 for some of the areas. The chunk of the money is there. You can buy food for your children. You can support yourself. If you're earning 30,000 a year, you're not going to get welfare benefits. Very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. So you're going to struggle, and that's why council accommodation has been a very important aspect of the United Kingdom life. Today, everything we'll talk about is centered around England because Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland have their own policies. Our focus today is England.
So are you living in council accommodation? We're talking about you. The advantage of it is that it helps you make ends meet, and obviously if it is that everything you earn is going to accommodation, then of course you would be much worse off, I should say. So government scheme is helping you do that. But when you get into a council accommodation, what do you do? How do you sustain that? When your situation improves, is it going to be a situation where government is going to ask you to go out of it, get into the private sector, so somebody else will benefit from that, or what? Or can you make it your own so you live in there forever? That is the question. Again, when somebody is giving a council accommodation, how long is it for?
Oh, it's for life.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a secure tenancy. If you don't breach any of the rules, you are there for life. And as I said, in certain instances, you can actually pass it on, because if you've got a spouse, a child, or a disabled relative, by relative, I mean somebody who's dependent on you, and you pass, in those instances, yes, they can acquire the property. So it's quite significant. And when we take London, I mean, most of us have lived in London before, although now we live just outside London. The areas like Islington, which we'll look at in a moment, areas like Battersea. I mean, when I started practicing South London and Balham, Battersea, you could get a council accommodation easily. Now, you will not get it. And those people who had a council accommodation and were able to buy, they're sitting on a lot of money. And that is why we always say that it's for the government to make sure that when they sell, they replenish and build more houses, because they sell to get more money to build the houses. And I know most people like to stay in London, but getting council accommodation in London,
no, it's
pretty difficult.
It's like digging gold, I guess.
It's pretty difficult,
yeah. Okay, so once you get in there, and if you don't breach any of the rules, as you said, you can live in it forever. I'm living in it forever. I'm paying rent forever. Touch wood, anything happens and I'm not able to pass it on, then I've lost something I have lived in to build equity in, to build a value in. So can I buy it?
Oh, yes.
And make it my own forever?
Yes. So the focus today, as you know, with us BWF, we share knowledge and information, and this is purely to educate our people. Now, first of all, purchasing a house or a property is one of the most significant decisions that anybody can take. So you don't take it lightly. Bear in mind that when you're buying a house, you must have the money. You must have the resource. You must then realize that because you own the place, repairs falls on you. If it's an apartment, there will be service charge. There may be ground rent. Service charge on council accommodation sometimes can be so expensive, because if you're not lucky and you fall within the period that you're doing general renovation, it can go as much as about 20,000, 30,000 per apartment. So you must be mindful of that. You must also qualify for a mortgage, unless, of course, you're buying cash. And I will show you how to buy cash, not using your own money, but even money from friends and family. That's allowed. If you want to pay cash, you still get your discount. The other thing that you also need to worry about is that you'll be paying stamp duty. Okay, so above a certain threshold, there will be stamp duty to pay. If it's your first home, the stamp duty is slightly less. If it's not, and it's very likely to be your first home, because if not, you will not have had a council accommodation. There are other things that are built into it. So the discount is what entices a lot of people to buy. But it's not only the discount, because although we say that the rent is reasonable compared to the private sector, every money that you're paying is money that you're giving to someone. Whereas if you own the house and you've purchased it every money that you put in it, you're reducing the debts that you owe the bank, and therefore, in the not too distant future, let's say 20 years, 25 years,
it would
you
become
will
yours.
own it. But who doesn't want free money?
No,
And this is free money because from the first day you bought it, you've got a large equity in it. And this is over 100,000 equity. If you're doing for outside London, it's 102,400. That is the maximum discount you can get once you've lived in it for at least 3 years. If you're in London, it's 136,400 or 70%, whichever is lower.
That's significant.
Of course, it's significant. And that is why we're treating this topic, because there's a story that I will share, or maybe I have to share that. I had a friend who was a barber when I was working in Balam, and he was living in council accommodation. And, my brothers and cousins, everybody that I've brought in this country, when you come, the first discussion we had is that you're going to buy a house.
Yeah.
So if you come to my area, my brother is there, my cousins are there. So I encourage them to invest because that is the least that you can do for yourself. I must say, it's not everyone that can buy a house. So the fact that you cannot afford to buy doesn't mean that you fail. Please, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's some money that you're entitled to if you qualify for the right to buy.
Okay.
And the day you purchase it, that money is sitting in your property. I will show you, if you need to take some, how you can, over what period, and if you sell it too early, what you have to pay back to the council and all that. But Kweku, why should you not buy it?
Yeah.
It's accommodation, that's where you live. Very likely that's where you're going to live forever. I cannot advise anybody that give up your council accommodation and then go and buy somewhere. You can still buy it. Give yourself time, go through the statutory period, because you can sell, when you buy it today, you can sell it today.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
you have to return some of the discount,
discount.
and it's tapered up to a certain amount over the number of years. After 10 years, you don't pay anything back. So that's why. And that is why I'm saying that as a community, these are some of the education that we need to look at so that we can help ourselves. I will show you something. I don't know if we can show that. This is a place that I lived in 1990. So I will show that. And if we can okay. So yeah, let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, pause. Now, can you see this was, they are all council flats, this property I've lived there when I was a student in 1990. I lived there, so I know what I'm talking about. This was sold at the time that in 1994, £185,000. Okay, £185,000. Now this is 1 bedroom. What's that? This is 5 bedrooms.
There's a 5 bedroom on 5 Greenway House.
Yeah.
And 27 Greenway House is 2 bedrooms.
Okay. Now the 2 bedrooms, some of the 2 bedrooms there. Now look at the date too. Some of the 2 bedrooms there. When you see sold there, they may have purchased from the council, not from the private sector. Because 2 bedroom there is almost 1 million.
Okay. But at the moment, if it was sold
in 2022
through the council,
they bought it from the council.
492,000.
Yes. Because they do the valuation, or the district valuer, if you object to it, will come and value the property and they will give you the value. This property, that the 2 bedroom you purchased for 492, it's worth almost a million pounds. You can go and check it on a private website.
That's about just a year.
Yes.
Because this is August 2023.
That's correct. So that is the potential equity that is sitting there. And you would have had a discount. This 492, they would have had a discount, depending on how long they've lived there, for about 136,400. So it was maybe about almost 600,000 pounds That is how the council valued it.
Valued.
But on the open market, it's almost $1
A
million.
million. Right.
5 bedrooms. Now, who buys 5 bedrooms
For
in the
700
center of London?
725,000.
Very close to King's Cross.
Yeah.
Very close to the city.
Mhm.
In fact, those days that I used to live there, sometimes I walk all the way to Euston.
Okay.
Yes, because as you know, I also
That's like walking in the local vicinity.
Absolutely.
Left, right, then you're there.
absolutely. You cannot find a house around that area which is being sold privately
Mhm.
for 492 for a 2-bedroom or 725 for a 5-bedroom. Even here in Haringey, here where we are 7 sisters, 5-bedroom you'll be paying about $1 million plus
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So in Islington, which is the center of London, and this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is top of top of the range. Clearly, people will usually be in the outskirts. But when you go to South London, like Lambeth, Brixton, the prices are similar. The area that is gained so much is Clapham and Battersea.
Okay.
Now, when I was practicing in 1998 at Barlam, a council flat in Battersea was about 290,000. It is now about 1.5 million. Okay, so we're talking about big money. We're using this as an example because that is how much equity you can gain over that period of time. And therefore, when somebody has the potential,
Is it okay to look at pictures of this place?
I mean, you can.
Can you click on the address? I think it should show us some pictures.
Yeah. Click on the address. Let's see.
I'm not sure. Okay, there's pictures.
Yeah, but it's blurred. Is it?
You have to sign in.
Okay, you're using Zoopla. Oh, that's why. Use Yeah. Okay, we'll find another one for you to use.
No way. I just wanted people to have an idea as to the nature of the building and the area that Uncle Ben is talking about. So, let's see. Yeah, we'll get there. But the whole concept is when you have been given the chance to live in a council property, you have a discount. Those of you living in Greater London, you have a discount of up to about £136,000 on the property at the time it was valued. Now, the example that we're having, that 2-bedroom flat, £476,000 valued in 2023 August. Obviously, if that discount was applied to it, then we're going to almost £600,000, where you would have had a discount, obviously. If you would have lived in that property for over 10 years, for instance, and you would have paid your mortgage up to that point, you could sell it off and make a lot of money out of that what we call the equity. That could help you recoup some money to do something else, probably get onto your second home or thereabout. Uncle Ben is an expert in property, so when he talks about something, you know what he's talking about. So take advantage of the opportunities there are. Okay, so flat 27, Finsbury, yes. So we have a picture like this on there. This which one is that?
This is the 2-bedroom.
The 2-bedroom. So go to the very first picture. It shows you the outside of the building. This is the flat that's owned by the council that Uncle Ben was talking about. So this flat in October 2014 was listed. And now, if we're going by what we saw earlier on, this flat is worth £476,000. And we believe that if a person bought it from the council, then the discount would have been applied on it. Now, flat 27 Greenway House, Finsbury Street, same street that Uncle Ben was talking about, 2-bedroom flat, was £492,000 on the 10th of August 2023 on a leasehold. In 10 years, or 10 years earlier, 3rd of October, well, it's not than 10 years, 2014, 2023, it's about 9 years, £499,950. Obviously, the discount and all the other bits have been applied to that. But if you go into the private sector, this flat, as Uncle Ben has mentioned, even if we going by the conservative amount of 130,000 pounds that has been added to that, so that's 620,000 pounds at the moment. And if you were to sell it later on privately, over $1 million. So take advantage of that, and as Uncle Ben is explaining, how do you do that? How do you buy such things? How do you buy such properties, Uncle Ben?
Well, quite cool. So the first thing that we should all be aware of is that you need to qualify.
Okay.
The qualification arises from the very first time you occupy, but it doesn't mean that you get a discount.
Okay.
So Ada, you can take it off. So once you're in a council accommodation, you can find out. You can go online. Every council will have a portal. There's a universal portal, but councils like you to complete the forms on their own portal.
Yeah.
And the right to buy portal for every council will have the documents, the questionnaire that you complete. You complete the application form. It goes to the council. The council has about 8 weeks, up to 12 weeks for an apartment. For houses, it's about 8 weeks. 4 weeks to 8 weeks to make a decision.
Okay.
So the decision they make is, yes, you qualify for right to buy, because it's not every council accommodation that you can buy. Yes, some are restricted because of certain requirements. Once they send that to you, they will, within the notice, will tell you how much discount you get. And the discount, you can get up to 70% of the value of the property, or the maximum amount of 102,400 if you're outside London, or 136,400 if you are in London. So when we say London, what is London? London is anywhere, it's called London.
Okay.
So all the boroughs in London, London borough of this, London borough of that, London, you will know that it's London. If you're not in London, your postcode will tell you you're not in London.
Okay.
So that is one. Once that it is determined that you've got the right to buy, they also will give you the value of the property. Okay. Then the value of the property, you will have 56 days to put in your offer and say, okay, I'm interested. And then they give you time to complete. The people who can buy are the tenant's spouse. So if I'm a tenant in a council accommodation and I have a spouse with me, a spouse can be a married partner or a civil partner. The spouse can also join me to buy.
Okay.
Or my relatives or family. And the family are your children, your grandparents, your half siblings, your full siblings.
So I remember some time when we were discussing, I think it was the EUSS time where we were looking at the family.
Yeah.
We're looking at the vertical and the horizontal. Yes. In this case, it could be either horizontal or vertical.
The only people who will not be classified as family are your cousins and your uncles, your cousins, nieces, and uncles.
Okay.
Anybody outside that can join you in buying this.
Okay.
They obviously, you have to show you live there because you're the tenant. You can show that. They also have to show that they live there with you. Okay. And once they've shown that, the council will then go on and start a process. You will decide whether you're buying it with cash or you're going for a mortgage. And then you start a process.
Okay.
You get a broker who will find a mortgage. They will come and do the valuation. If the value is lower than what the council has offered, you've got a right of appeal within 56 days to appeal to the district valuation officer.
Okay. So you need to get the right value so you can qualify for the amount of discount that you need to.
Well, the discount will be dependent on whether you've lived there for 3 years or more.
Okay.
So when you've lived there for 3 years, if it's a house, you get 33% discount. If it's an apartment, you get 50% discount. If it's a house, every additional year after 5 years, you get 1% discount.
Okay.
Up to a maximum of 70%.
70%.
Or 102,400 or 136,400, whichever is smaller.
Oh, okay.
whichever is smaller.
Okay.
Because if this property is 750 and you're going to get 70% discount, how much is that? That is a lot
of money.
So,
yes,
the discount is pegged.
Okay.
2024-2025 discount, it comes every April. 2024-2025 discount is 102,400 for properties outside London and 136,400 for properties in London. That is the maximum discount you get.
Okay.
But your discount will be dependent on how long, not how long you've lived in that property, how long you've been a social tenant.
Okay.
So if you lived in Lambeth
Mm-hmm.
for 2 years, you moved to Islington, you lived there for 2 years. You went to Manchester, you lived there for 5 years, and then you move somewhere else, and they will accumulate it because it's called preserved right. Your preserved right is once you become a social tenant, your right to buy an entitlement to discount is counted across
the country,
everywhere.
Okay.
And then the discount fits in. For argument's sake, let's say the house is worth 200,000. One bedroom house may be somewhere outside London, 200,000. And then your discount, as I said, starts from 35% for a house
Mm-hmm.
and 50% for an
apartment.
Yeah. For an apartment, after the 5 years, you get 2% discount for every additional year. House is 1%. Apartment is 2%.
Why is that stark difference between an apartment and a house?
Well, Kweku, apartment, there's a lot of work. Even when you're doing conveyancing, when you're buying a house, if it's a freehold, you pay less in conveyancing cost than if it's a leasehold. Because leasehold comes with as the name suggests, it's lease. You're leasing the property.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay ground rent and you pay service charge.
Okay.
So these are things that they factor in. There's something called floor ceiling. The floor ceiling is the amount of money that the council is pumping to develop the place.
Mm-hmm.
They can also recoup that. So you have to be mindful. If the council has spent money there, you have to know that it will increase the value of the property.
Mm.
If you've spent money on your council accommodation and therefore the value has increased, the council should not benefit from that value. So if your house would have been, let's say, 200,000, but because it's a house, you put in a you put in a conservatory.
Yeah.
Or you've done something, you've changed the tiles, you've changed the toilet, you've done the bathroom, you put an ensuite there. As to whether you can do that to a council accommodation, I'm not sure. But let's say you've developed it, you put money in there to increase the value by, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000. That money is yours, it's not for the council. So when you're doing the discounting, the valuation of the property, that has to be factored in as well.
Okay.
Once you've gone your offer, you're interested, you've got a mortgage or you're a cash buyer, and we will discuss a cash buyer.
Yeah.
The fact that you can ask friends to support you to do, and eventually when you pass the statutory period, you will be able to give them their money. But when you're buying it in your name. They cannot join to buy.
Okay.
Once you've done that, you've got your mortgage, you buy it minus the discount. You pay, and from that day onwards, the property has become yours.
Right. So, there is a Kanakan saying, I will translate it literally for you. When you see something so beautiful by the roadside, it's worth money. How do you raise money for you to exercise your right to buy? How much do you have to pay in the deposit? If friends are helping you, how do you do that? Uncle Bernard said that you can buy with cash or you go for the mortgage. We're taking a quick break, and when we come back, now we're going to buy. So get yourself ready, your pens, papers, and notepads, and take some notes down because we are going house buying now. Are you ready? Right after this.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Welcome back, and thank you for sticking around. I know that you would want to put in your questions and your concerns. Keep them in the comment section below, or you can send them via text to 07399208468. 07399208468. You can do that by text or WhatsApp or voice note as well, and we will pick that one up for Akben to deal with. This afternoon, we're looking at how to exercise your right to buy your council housing. And we looked at the criteria, we looked at what kind of and what amount of discount you are qualified for. And as Akabena said, whether you live in London, outside of London, anywhere in the UK, you have a certain amount of discount. Now, when you would have exercised your right to buy, every year after a certain qualifying period, there is an amount of discount you can also enjoy up to a certain level. I'll be asking you the question. That's why I'm saying the certain level. So yeah, make sure you get them right. Now we are going to get into the real act of buying the council home that you live in. How much do you need to start with? If you're going the mortgage way, what is required of you? If you're going the private way where you get people to lend you money, what is required of you? So let's do this. And I want to say again that we want to say thank you to BWF Solicitors for supporting the program, The Community and the Law, every Saturday afternoon. Uncle Ben, the senior partner of BWF Solicitors, is a resource person and guest this afternoon. Uncle Ben, we are ready to buy.
Yes, so as I said, the process is that Ada will share the link. You complete the forms, the RTB forms, and that's there. and you complete it, and that's it. It's only 7 steps, and as you can see, there are very basic questions that they ask you. You've done that. Once you've done that, they will bring you a confirmation whether you qualify. Once they've confirmed that, they will have 8 weeks to bring you something called a Section 125 notice, which is what will have the discount, the description of the property, and everything. You will then put in your offer. You go to the bank manager. Now, the process is that if you're a mortgage purchaser or you're buying on a loan, you need to get a broker. I always deal with broker. All my kids, we have a broker who works for all of us, and I even introduce him to some of our clients. He will look at the products available for your circumstance. Not everybody can get a mortgage. There's adverse credit, there's affordability. Adverse credit is somebody who has an impaired credit. Either they owe money, they haven't paid their credit cards, whatever. So there's adverse credit. There's also, as I said, affordability test. You know that the credit crunch started with some of these issues where people were buying houses that they couldn't afford. So the bank will always do the calculation. If you go online, you can do your own calculation. Once you know the value of the property, you can put in your income and it will tell you how much you can borrow. Or you can put in the cost of the property and it will tell you how much you need to borrow. Now, I can see already online people are asking, so people from Ghana can help you to buy? Yes. The council is not interested in how you're buying it or who you're buying. What the council is interested in is that Mr. Usu was selling this house to you or this apartment. It's 250,000. Because you've lived here for a long time, we'll give you a discount. It's in London. It's a 1-bedroom or even a bed sit. We'll give you a discount of 136,500. Please bring us the rest of our money, and then they will.
Whether you dig gold,
whatever you do, they are not interested.
Right.
The only thing is that it's just you who will have his name on the property, on the deed. What arrangement you have with your brothers in Ghana, whether you have a sister who's got a shop in Ghana and she's got so much cash, she wants to help you to buy, nobody's interested. There was a scandal where there were businesses here who were giving people money and they were sharing the discount with them. Ethically, whether it's right or not, they are business people. So if they are helping you to acquire a property and get a bit of the equity, just bear in mind that when you buy it today, you can sell it today. But when you sell it today,
you have to pay off some of the
discount. Things you have to consider. The council has the first right to buy. So you need to speak to the council. You cannot just go and sell it. You can only go and sell it to anybody after 10 years. But they have the first choice to buy. It doesn't mean that they will buy, but they will have the first choice. And they will buy it at the market value, not how they sold it to you. Then in the first year, so from 20% to 80% refund is what you will give back. If you're selling the property after the first year, you will pay all back. After 3 years, 20%. Are up to 5 years. Sorry, 80% are up to 5 years, where you pay 20% of the discount back. After 5 years, you don't pay any of the discounts. So whatever loan that you're taking, whether from a business person in the UK or from Ghana, you and that person must agree that for the first 5 years, we can't do anything. So we leave it. Now, I'm not saying go and buy it and sell it and take the money, and then I'm saying that it's an investment. Because as with any investment, it appreciates over time. There are people who bought their properties today in certain areas, slightly outside London, for 365. As we sit here, it's worth 750. This is 2004, and we are in 2020. So in 20 years, it's gone up by about £400,000. If they sold it the first year, or the second year, or even the fifth year, they would have maybe possibly made 10,000 or 50,000, not the 400,000
that they're making
now. So it's an investment. But apart from the fact that it's an investment, it's your home.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Short of you expanding, your family expanding, you getting more babies, so you want to move from a flat to a house. This equity is sitting there for you.
Yeah.
The 5 to 10 years that you've paid, if 5 years you would have paid. So the money that you pay to buy, you've repaid some to the bank. So maybe you will get another 5, 6, 7 to 10,000 pounds back. If you add it to the maximum discount, that's about 146,400 free money. You didn't work for it. Now, if you were living in that accommodation as a tenant, instead of maybe paying mortgage of about 450, maybe you'll be paying rent about 300. But that money, that 300, is money that will never be yours. It's going.
It's going, yeah.
And if you're paying your mortgage because it's a repayment, interest, and capital, it's 450. The extra 100 or whatever is paying the interest or whatever, and the rest of the money is paying the capital. That capital that you're whittling down will eventually add to the value of the property.
Yeah.
Let me pitch here. The reason why we're doing this is to encourage people. I've always said that anybody that is coming into my life, anybody, whether as a friend or a neighbor, or my siblings, my cousins, my influence is to encourage you to do well for yourself. Not all of us can do some of them, but there are very basic things that you can do. We all have aspirations, and that is why we left our country to come. That effort alone is an aspiration. So if you're here and you've got this fantastic opportunity to earn some money, and you could pay cash. If somebody's got £500,000 cash sitting in Ghana and you're buying at Greenaway House, and he can give you that money to buy, in a few years when you sell, I'm not saying go and sell, I'm saying when you sell, you can repay the money back. They can get a bit of the money on, and you can get a substantial, or the discount then becomes yours. Kweku, the process is very, very simple. It's extremely simple, and almost everyone that occupies a council accommodation for 5 years or more will get a discount. Almost everyone. Some might be as little as 15,000, but it's a discount.
It is a discount, obviously.
Some might be the full WAC, which is in London, it's 136, 400 is going to go up next year because every April goes up. It's free money for you. It's free money.
The detail, or the devil is in the detail. I'm asking, how do I know I qualify to buy?
You have to ask them. So
what would they base my qualification on?
Apart from it's not every council accommodation
that you can buy
that is sold. Because some council accommodation will be or have parts that are for old people.
Okay.
Some are defective accommodation and they're going to repair. Some are subject to demolition. Some are also are given to people because of their employment, like the trade unionists. The big trade unionists, the accommodation comes with social housing.
Okay.
It comes with social housing. That is why our Deputy Prime Minister had a council accommodation, which she exercised the right to buy, and she bought because she was a trade unionist.
Okay.
All the big trade unionists here have houses in London, most of them in Islington. Potentially 1 million council accommodation. But when you look we saw the block of flats.
Yeah.
I mean, those days when I used to live there, sometimes the door doesn't even work. The lift, the lift didn't work. But that is a value that you can get. And that accommodation, the one that says 5 bedroom, the block of apartments, the maximum you can get is 3 bedroom. There's somebody there. There are houses there. So they have terrace houses. but they were part of the council accommodation. And I know somebody, I don't want to mention it, he's lived there for 45 years. In the same accommodation for 45 years. That's where he had all his children. He's got great-grandchildren as we speak. He's now, when I came to this country, I think it was in his 60s. I think that man is, he's almost about 90 years or even more. The point I'm making is that we all have aspiration. There are benefits for people, especially if you're council accommodation. There's money sitting there that the government can give you. And sometimes they do this to take that stock off them. But bear in mind that when you're sitting there, the council, if there's ground rent to pay, you're not paying.
You're not paying.
If there's maintenance, you're not paying. If there's a lift to be serviced, you're not paying.
Yeah.
So the council is paying all that. So when you come to say, I'm taking...
They're happy to give it to you because you take that burden off them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, take that burden upon yourself and get yourself a good property, which you'll appreciate very soon, and then you will enjoy the benefit of that. Well, if you have any question, you can send it to us via text and WhatsApp 07399208468, 07399208468. Or you can call in and speak to Uncle Ben, ask any question concerning and relating to buying your council home or any other legal question that you want to put to Uncle Ben. He's so ready to answer you. The number is 0208 493 7345. 0208 493-7345. But I just want to remind you that if you want to enjoy the benefit of the services of BWF Solicitors, they work Monday to Friday between 9:30 in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. They are on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218, Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters, North London. Call them, book an appointment, come visit them, 0208 493 7340. Or you can call and text on the emergency number 077 127 61884. 077 127 61884. Daniela has been following the discussion and she comes up with another question. My question is, what are those living in housing association properties? I know it's right to acquire, but from what time? Can one start to apply after a year of living there, or it ought to be after 3 years? Are the housing associations allowing tenants to buy their properties these days?
Yes. So housing associations are also part of the right to buy.
Okay.
And there's a scheme. So whether it's right to acquire or right to buy, it's the same thing. You are acquiring or buying that stock that belongs to a social landlord. You as a tenant, you're buying it. The discount. So the right to buy can start anytime if you qualify.
Okay.
You can start anytime. We're talking about the discount. So
okay.
there are two things that we're talking about. We're talking about the right to buy.
Okay.
And then the discount. Right to buy, once you've lived there for 1 year, you can always check if you're living in a housing association, go on their portal, see whether there's a form there. If there's not a form, there's one that we shared. You can use that. Send the application to them. The discount starts from the 3rd year.
Okay.
You get a maximum of 70%, but it starts from 35 for a house and 50% for a council flat. After 5 years, every single year, if it's a house, it gives you 1% in addition to the 35.
35, okay.
If it's a council apartment, it gives you after every 1 year, you get 2% on top of the 50
that you had for apartment.
So how many 2% do you need to reach 70%, which is the maximum you can get?
So you have 50 already. So you have another 25.
10 years.
10 years.
Yes. So you can see that to get a maximum, you're looking at 15 years. Okay. I intentionally asked that question. So when you put in your mind, that is for council accommodation. For the houses, how many years addition would you have to add to get a 35, to get a maximum.
The maximum. So this one gives you
1%.
1%.
And it's you need 35% more to
35%.
So how many years?
So
35 years.
35 years. Yeah.
You see the difference? So we say maximum. So everybody's 35. You haven't been there for 35
years.
So you're not going to get a maximum.
But
whether you get a 35, so 35% of the value of the property, and we know the average properties in London, we know the average property, and you're getting 35% of the value as a discount. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I'm even looking at when you buying from the private sector, they need you to put down a deposit.
Yeah.
The deposit ranges between 5 and 10%?
Yes.
Yes. So if you paying 10% of a £600,000 property, that's 60,000.
That's correct.
Where are you going to get that 60,000? Whereas when you live in a council property and it's even 300,000, and give you 35% of that, that is 118,000.
Yes.
Minimum.
Yes, and you're not putting a deposit down.
You're not putting a deposit down. Well, that was going to be the question I was going to ask there. When you're buying from the council, do you need a deposit? You obviously answered that you don't need it.
You don't need it.
Because they have even given you a discount from the start.
Yes, so you don't need a deposit.
Well, keep your questions coming through 0739920846, or you can put that in the comment section below. And on Facebook or YouTube, we're live at BWF Solicitors on those platforms, and BWTV as well. My question is, can someone on sponsorship buy a house, or you only buy when you've got indefinite leave to remain? So I think your question is, can somebody on a limited leave to remain buy from the council, or you would have to have settled here before you be able to buy from the council?
Buying a house and getting a mortgage are two different things.
Okay.
If you're a visitor, you can buy a house. That is why has a house here. And okay, of course, he lived here for a long time, so we don't know what his immigration status is now. But anybody at all can buy a house. In fact, we used to have clients who buy houses here as a way of getting settlement.
Okay.
And they do investments, and then they use that to get settlement. But the question is, can somebody who hasn't got settlement get a mortgage? That is the question. If you want to buy a house, nobody is saying go borrow money. Maybe your mother is rich, or your father is rich, or your husband is rich, or your wife is rich. There are people who are extremely rich. When Thursday I dealt with a client who's a big man in Ghana. They used to live here, they moved to Ghana. He bought his house cash.
Yeah.
Okay, so people can buy their houses cash. So the question is not whether you can buy a house if you have limited leave to remain. The question is whether you can get a mortgage if you have a limit. And that's a decision for the bank.
I think another aspect of the question will be, can I get council accommodation if I'm not settled?
Yes.
And if I'm not settled and I get council accommodation, and I've lived in it for a year and beyond, can I buy?
Yes.
If there's right to buy on the property.
Once you're a tenant, once you are a tenant, you can buy it. Okay. Just that the discount applies from 3 years, and then 5 years, and then every year after it's topped up. It's somebody will say tot. It's just like the more you live there, the more discounts you get. And there's a reason why, because you paid into the pot. And therefore they're giving that back to you. You've accrued all. And I keep saying that your preserved right cuts across everywhere. Once a social tenant, always a social tenant. Unless you've lost the tenancy because of repossession, or you've done something, not noise abatement or antisocial behavior, they won't sell to you. But if you're not in those categories, they will sell to you. You don't have a problem. Whether you have a 2.5, because parents who have 2.5 and have no recourse and have recourse to public funds, they can get council accommodation.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you are having no recourse to public funds on your situation, then obviously you can't, because then you won't even get council house or council accommodation at all. Keep them coming through 0739920846. I've got one here as a voice note, and for the benefit of viewers and listeners. Let's listen to this one.
I hope so. We have a good. Mpacho Mr. George Nedo number man.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I think somebody wants an appointment. Whoever sent it, you sent it from Ghana. The number ends in 0141. Please call the office number 0208 493 7340 or text 077 127 61884. I think somebody has recommended that you spoke to BWF solicitors. Uncle Ben is ready to listen to you. So just get your concern in. Now let's go onto the platform and see if we can pick up any other comments or questions. I'm EU national with settled status. My children under 21 years have also settled status. Can I apply for a British passport for my children? If so, what form should I use?
Well, I mean, you haven't given us much. All we know is that you're EU national, you've got settled status. Your children are under 21. If they are above 18, how long have they lived here? Were they born here? Very unlikely, as you're asking these questions. Because if they were born here, then, depending on when you had your settlement, they can always register. But it looks like they can apply for British citizenship in their own right, because they are above 18. If they were under 18, then the discretion will be either under a 3-1 or a 1-3. 3-1 or 1-3 will be dependent on the discretion of the Secretary of State. But either way, it will also be part of the process that one of the adults has settlement or was also applying to get British citizenship.
03084937345. Simply unknown. I hope I got it right. You're on YouTube. Please, is it right to acquire from housing association the same as right to buy, and is the process the same?
Yes, the process is the same. The right to acquire, it starts from the 3rd year of your tenancy, and the property should have been built after 1997. Those are the differences with that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, keep them coming through. Uncle Ben is here to answer your questions. I know you have plenty of them. You can send it via text or come on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, BWF Solicitors or BWTV. Someone said one doesn't need to write live in the UK before getting indefinite. How true is it? Because I know you have to write that. Anita, Uncle Ben.
Well, I'm sure she's talking about exceptions.
Okay.
So we've encouraged people to know the law. Today, I shared one video and somebody in our community said, that is why I see the Arabs, when they're coming to UK, they have a lot of maids following them and their children. I said, yes, because they've got good legal advice. So not everybody has to write. If you have a physical condition that prevents you from preparing for the exams, or a physical condition that prevents you from writing the exams, you can put in an exemption application. If you have a mental health issue or a psychological issue, it could be anything like stress. It could be anxiety. It could be panic attacks. All this, and I say this not because I'm just saying it. We do it. This year alone, those people on the threshold of panic attacks and anxiety, we've got 3 of them. We are in August. We've got 3 of them. There's one, even the thought of putting in an application to the Home Office renders her disabled. And she's got a social worker who helps her. There are people who cannot even go out on their own into the streets and they need support. There are people, they could study, as you know, they will study and prepare for exams. But when they go to the exams room, they say, I've gone blank. All those instances are evidence of psychological or mental health issues.
I'm sorry to cut you short. The nugget, I don't know if we could bring that back, because there was a point that said that you would need, if the applicant claims to have a physical or mental health condition, they must provide original and current medical evidence from a doctor. Panic attacks can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
So how do I prove that?
So all the clients that we did for, we got a letter from the GP For nationality, you need to complete a pro forma. But I prefer to add a letter to it and explain. So they know them better. And if a GP tells you that, yeah, my client has this psychological or mental health issue, and in my opinion, that prevents her or him from preparing or writing the exams. Even physical disability that prevents you from moving around. It says preparing or going to write. So if there's a physical ability, there's a physical disability that prevents you from going out of your house to write the exams, you can apply. And those between the ages of 60 and 64. If you can prove that by the time I do all this preparation, I'm already 65, and you can prove to the government, and this you have to do by getting an English teacher to certify that I have taught this man for this duration, and the way the progress we've made, he's not going to pass the exams even when you give him another 2 years. He's going to be 65 in 2 years. So in my view, even if he prepares, he will not pass the exams by the time he turns 65. The Home Office will give you an exemption. There are other exemptions for people who've lived here lawfully for 15 years, and they cannot write a B1. A teacher can certify that he's taught you for 70 hours in a year or whatever, and you can put in an application for exemption. You only do the A2, not the B1.
Okay. So I think I would advise that if you don't know, ask. Obviously, when you don't ask questions, you don't get answers. So if you are in doubt, I would ask you to consult BWF Solicitors. The numbers are on the screen, 0208-493-7340. If you're outside of the UK and especially in Ghana, 00233 5558 5558 95959, and the emergency 0044-77-127-61884. We take one quick message and say thank you to BWF Solicitors, and we'll be right back. Keep your questions and your comments coming through.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Yes, welcome back, and thank you for sticking around. It's still the Community of the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors, and we're looking at your right to buy your council home. We have had a good lesson, and I believe that all the questions you have would come handy, and we get Uncle Ben, the senior partner of BWF Solicitors, to help us answer that. Obukubatim Priscilla says, like, can a dependent on a skilled working visa apply for retention of visa if their COS is revoked?
Oh, Priscilla, I wish that were the case. No, it's not. There's nothing like retention of right, but if you're putting an application just to protect you because you have your eyes on something within a few months, I can say possibly you can discuss that with a lawyer. But there's nothing like retention of right. If somebody is telling you that, just ask what exactly is the law. Let them show you the law. Okay.
In addition to this one, earlier in the week, somebody showed me a video where there's this young man doing a stint on TikTok saying that there is a law that says that if your COS has even expired or it has been revoked, put in an application and all that. It kind of was a bit vague. If your right to stay in the country, right to work, has been revoked one way or the other, is there any way you could put in an application and then buy time to get something in place?
Okay, so when your leave is to be revoked, you're usually given 60 days, either as a student or as a skilled worker. You want to be able to switch to something.
Okay.
If you wait for the 60 days to pass, you will become an illegal migrant, and therefore you cannot make a lawful application in the UK. So people will sometimes do speculative application and to hold it. Whether it's ethically right or morally right, as if it's a strategy, it's a strategy. So, yes, it's because there are delays there. So by the time you put in the application, depending on what application, remember you have to pay. And it can be as much as £3,600.
Okay.
So by the time you put in the application, you go and do your biometric and everything. Give and take maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you can get. But that's why I keep saying that you must have a potential switch within a few weeks or a month for you to be doing things like that.
Okay. All right. One person is asking, Sikache is asking whether the right to buy applies in Scotland.
I haven't read Scottish law on this. I will research. And that's why at the beginning I said my focus is on England. There's a reason why. Scottish law mainly is easier. It's more generous than the UK because of their particular circumstance. So, yeah, if you want to find out, go online and say, do we have right to buy an housing association in Scotland? It will tell you. I mean, these days, AI does so many things. You will get information from so many sources and give you a summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then another thing I want to find out is, if, for instance, I live in Manchester and I had social housing in Manchester, my circumstances changed. So I've moved to London, for instance, to work in there. But I did not relinquish my social housing in Manchester. Would I still maintain my right to buy it, even though I'm not living there and I've moved for work purposes to another place?
Well, the example you gave is you haven't given up your council accommodation. Even if you gave it up, let's say you lived there for 5 years, you gave it up. Or you lived there for 5 years, you moved to London, private accommodation, and then apply for council accommodation, you moved them. That's why I said it's called preserved right. So once you've accumulated it, it's never extinguished unless you are evicted.
Okay.
For non-payment of rent and all the social ills. So once you've preserved it, you can always tot up, add it to whatever you've accumulated in any borough or metropolitan area.
Okay. Yeah, keep them coming through. And remember, we gave you the nugget earlier on. I'll be posing my question later on and be testing your knowledge on how well you have followed us and how well you have learned. And when you are faced with any scenario, whether you'll be able to use the knowledge and experience to answer that. So let's pick a question, ponder over it, and I'll come back in a few minutes to look at that. Mina Ba Araba, a 46-year-old Ghanaian, is applying for British citizenship after 20 years on indefinite leave to remain. She tells you that she has recently been diagnosed as clinically blind and partially deaf in one ear. She says she's been told that without passing the English language and knowledge of life test, she cannot apply for British nationality. She has bought the books but is struggling to adequately prepare for both tests. What advice would you give Mina Ba Araba? Would it be one, she must buy Braille book for blind people to prepare because she is only partially deaf? Or two, she would have to wait till she's 65 because those over 65 are exempt from the knowledge of life here in the UK. Or three, she would have to ask her GP to complete a pro forma form for exemption and add a medical report about her medical condition. Straightforward, isn't it? Well, think about it. I'll come back to this one, but let's see if we have any question or comments from the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, and then we'll get a comment to answer that before we take that break and go back to our question. I've got my indefinite leave to remain. I got it on the 6th of December 2023 after being on the parent route for 10 years. I was on holidays in Ghana from the 26th of November 2014 to the 28th of December 2014. And what date can I put in my naturalization application since they have this qualifying period clause?
Okay, so you'll be applying under Section 6.1 and Schedule 1 of the British Nationality Act. So you are the 5-year route people.
Mm-hmm.
The 5-year route starts from 490 and it goes as far as 970 days. Now, when somebody's been away from the UK for 970, they can still qualify.
Mm-hmm.
But the starting point is that for the 5 years, you shouldn't have been away for more than 450. When you divide 450 by 5, it means for every year, you shouldn't have been away for more than 90 days. However, as I say, to every rule, there's an exception. The exception is up to 970, sometimes even over 1,000. I'm not telling you to say, oh, because Uncle Ben said 970, I've been away for more than that, I'm going to put in the application. There are things that we do, okay? So when you do, you have to do a spreadsheet of the times that you've been away. You need to calculate and find out how you've been away. Once you've been away for more than 450, then you have to justify why you've been away for a long period. Some could be something like you've got work here, you've got family, and other things. That is why you were away. You went away for business, for medical treatment. But above all, bring yourself within the law and rely on the discretion, which says that even up to 970, although that's above the 450, you can still qualify. You can qualify, you can apply anytime. Remember that the date you apply for your British nationality, you should be here in the UK. You should physically be here.
There's this scenario. There's this person that got indefinite leave to remain. At the time was married to a British national. They had a child. And this lady moved to kind of live in Ghana. The child is over 5 years now. Wanted to bring the child over to the UK for holidays. Got to the airport through transit in Istanbul and was not allowed to enter the country and had to go back to Ghana with this British child. Is the person's situation so dire, or because of the British child, the person can come back to the UK?
Well, I'm not sure why they will return her. Was it because the child's passport had issues, or they didn't believe that she's a child's parent?
Well, it was a story that was told me, so
Okay.
some details. But I understand the child is British, yes. But this lady was not allowed to come in, even though she thinks that she has indefinite leave to remain and could come back to the UK anytime.
So if she thinks that she has indefinite leave, she will have to prove it. And the way you prove it is usually with a vignette in your passport or a biometric residence card. If she has a vignette in a very old passport, sometimes it can cause problems. My advice is that seek legal advice. I mean, she can call me. I'm happy to speak to her or any of the lawyers at BWF Solicitors.
Okay. Well, that's quite generous, and that's the more reason I always ask you to talk to BWF Solicitors, because they are offer to help you here and there. So speak to them. Please, my visa is expiring this 4th September, and you have to get a course from the company I'm working at, the company I'm working for. But I am to write a UKVI IELTS August 24th. The report will be in after the 4th of September. Am I in danger?
Well, if you're working, it's because you're here lawfully. Why are you getting a new COS? And if you're switching from your current company because they've got issues, then again, how come you are switching and writing an English exams? Or maybe you're here as a dependent of someone and you want to switch. Please bring more, because the fact that you're doing IELTS means that you're not the main applicant, or you're here in on the basis of another route. Please fill us in, but don't wait for 4th of September. If there's an application for you to make, please make it and protect your right to remain under Section 3C.
Okay. Well, on this note, I will want to let us look at the question again. After that, we take a quick break. We'll come back, look at your answers, and get Uncle Ben to help us answer that. Mina Baraba, a 46-year-old Ghanaian, is applying for British citizenship after 20 years on indefinite leave to remain. She tells us that she has recently been diagnosed as clinically blind and partially deaf in one ear. She says she's been told that without passing the English language and knowledge of live tests, she cannot apply for British nationality. She's bought the book, so to speak, but is struggling to adequately prepare for both tests. What advice would you give Mina Baraba? She must buy Braille book for blind people and to prepare because she's only partially deaf. Is it because is it the second answer, which is she would have to wait till she's 65 because those over 65 are exempt from the knowledge of life in the UK. Then 3, she would have to ask her GP to complete a pro forma form for exemption and add a medical report about her medical condition. Think about that. Let me say thank you to BWF Solicitors. Daniela says, please, Uncle Ben, share with us the tricks of buying with cash, the SUSU forms of buying, and how to explain your broker on the back, your source of cash as evidence. SUSU forms, it's not everybody that understands SUSU. SUSU is that putting some money away with an organization or with a group, and then you go and claim it back after some time, and you do that in shares and terms. Well, I don't know whether, would that be a good source of financing that?
Of course. So if friends club together to, it's called cooperative, is to support you to buy, there's nothing wrong. So maybe you need 250,000. You've got maybe 100 friends. Some of them can give you 5,000, some can give you 20,000, some can give you 10,000. Then you put it together, but just remember that if you're taking a loan from them, it should be put in writing. And I'm sure in future they will want to have benefit of the equity, or maybe they put an interest on the loan. There are various ways of buying it. As I've said, there was a scandal only a few years ago of businesses encouraging people to do the right to buy, and then they wait for 10 years and then they sell and the people lose their houses. So just be mindful of where you're getting your money from.
Be mindful of the fact that BWF Solicitors is our right source of legal support, information, and advice. Let's say thank you to them. We'll be right back.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
Yes, thank you very much. And we get into the last segment of our program where we test your knowledge. I've asked you the question, what is your answer? Would Mainaba Araba have to buy Braille book for blind people to prepare because she's only partially deaf? Will she have to wait till she's 65 because those over 65 are exempt from the knowledge of life in the UK test? Will she have to ask her GP to complete a pro forma form for exemption and add a medical report about her medical condition? Let me see what answers you have. Charles Emery says it's number 3. She would have to ask her GP to complete the pro forma form for exemption and add a medical report about her medical condition. Luther Ando says number 3 as well. The next person, Hager Sylphie, number 3. Erabina Obapa Kunedu Yadom, number 3. Okay, 3 is becoming very popular. Gifty, a child in team. Yes, number 3, she says. Next one, we have Yao in team, also saying number 3. Elvis Kweku says number 3. Next, Gifty, a child in team. I think we've picked up one as well. It's on Facebook as well. Tilly Duma says number 3 on Facebook. She would have to ask her GP to complete the pro forma form for exemption and add a medical report about her medical condition. Thank you, Tilly. Next we have okay. With that, let's go over to Uncle Ben and see how we can break them apart and get the correct answer. Uncle Ben.
So, I mean, you've looked at a case law, Bibi and Ali, which went to the Supreme Court, and people were saying that English language is clearly against the human rights. The court said, no, it's not against the human right, but Home Office should create an exception for some people and create a discretion. So when you go to Appendix EL, which is English Language 1.1, there are exceptions there, 1.2, there are exceptions there. The other exception will be for somebody who has a physical or mental condition which prevents them from preparing or from writing the exams. The last one we did was for a partially blind person. Let me not add a sex. That's why I put this there. So partially blind people, they can walk, they can come here, they can do everything. But we were able to prove to the Home Office that because the person is partially blind, they cannot do the English and the life in UK. The GP completed a pro forma with a cover letter, We then did a long cover letter, explained her difficulties, and her application was approved.
Okay. So obviously, as Uncle Ben has explained, the answer to this week's Test Your Knowledge is number 3. Appendix KOLL gives the Secretary of State for the Home Department the discretion to exempt those who have physical, mental, and health conditions that prevent them from adequately preparing for the test. A waiver request form should be completed by a medical practitioner, that is the proof form that we're talking about, providing information relating to the individual's conditions, symptoms, prognosis, and reasons why they are unable to learn English and prepare for the life in the UK test. This one is from the Immigration Rules Appendix KOLL Part 3. So those of you who chose number 3, you are winners for this week. Thank you so very much, and watch out for another scenario next week, and that will be dropped in the social media space from Monday when we bring you the nugget. So BWF Solicitors Facebook, YouTube, website, and of course those of you who are in the broadcast distribution group for BWF Solicitors, the nugget and the quiz will be coming. Get your hands on them, try them, and let's see whether you can have them answered. Well, at this time, as I keep saying, and I don't take tradition for granted, so let's have a summary of what we discussed today: the right to buy, buying your council home, with Uncle Ben, the senior partner, a resource person, and guest this afternoon.
So the right to buy is, a scheme that has been put in place by legislation that allows social tenants or statutory tenants or people who occupy housing association or council accommodation to buy the accommodation, and in certain regards they will be entitled to a discount of the accommodation. Clearly, it's for people who are looking to invest. That's an opportunity. I've always said that we all came here because of our aspiration to do better than we were doing, and if you're here and there's an opportunity for free money, you must grab it. To qualify, you must show that you'll be able to buy the house either with cash or with a mortgage. Make sure that your credit ability is tops, and that your credit file, if has any adverse credit points against you, have it expunged, challenge it, and make sure that by the time you buy, you can afford whatever mortgage is available. I hope this has helped someone, but above all, if there are any things that you want to ask, any question at all about any area of law, please do not hesitate to contact one of our lawyers, and our numbers are displayed on the screen.
Numbers displayed on the screen, I want to read them out as well: 0208 493 7340, or the emergency 077 127 61884. It's been a wonderful experience. We've learned a lot, and you know what? There were things you did not know, but you've got to know now. So on that, I would invite you to join us again same time next week on the same platform: BWF Solicitors YouTube, BWF Solicitors Facebook, BWTV Facebook, YouTube, and all the other social media platforms. And keep spreading the message. Tell people to tell people, your friend to tell a friend, and friend to tell a friend, that BWF Solicitors is our trusted partners when it comes to the law. And they bring us the community and the law every Saturday afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. I want to say thank you to the senior partner, Uncle Ben, for his time and, of course, the share of knowledge, and to all the lawyers of BWF Solicitors, the support staff, both here in the UK and outside of the UK, especially in Ghana, and to my studio producer, Professor Ade, Sheila Ankra, and Pat Modiodi for their aesthetics and their admin, and to you out there. I'm so grateful I had your attention for 2 solid hours. Please, as in the Akan tradition, Proverbs space, they say, debut it's because we can offer more to the visitor that they come back to us smiling. So I want you to come back, smile with me, and share the knowledge space with me same time next week. My name is Owusu Frimpong. Good evening.